Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to another Tuesday Night Live here in the Holling Block with me, OCH4. My goodness me, what an intro. Did you guys like that? Of course, you know who we've got on the show today. None other than Mr. Emmanuel Waldron. We are very excited. I say we because I know you are here watching live because you're just as excited as I am. My goodness me. I don't want to waste any time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this man before I introduce him. I'll put his picture back up and I'll tell you that Emmanuel Waldron is an award-winning pianist, producer, arranger, and composer who's played for Her Majesty, the Queen. I'm not talking about Queen Latifah. He's played for Her Majesty the Queen. He's played for His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, who personally commended Emmanuel as well. He's played for the Queen of Jordan, the Pope, and other global dignitaries. He's worked to share the stage with people such as Ronan Keating, the Black Eyed Peas, Karen Gibson in the Kingdom Choir at the Royal Wedding, Steve Brookstein, the world's first X Factor winner, as well as Bazil, Meade, MBE, and the London Community Gospel Choir, LCGC. Annie Lennox, Pixie Lott, Gwen Stefani, and many, 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 many other artists and musicians from around the world. His albums include A Portrait of a Journey, Still Waters, Everything You Are, All Seasons. I don't ever say this right. Chaoticism. I'm gonna find out how to say it properly today, as well as Emmanuel Waldron live that dropped last year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none other. We have an applause before he even gets on. A round of applause before he's even joined us on the show. I didn't even do my introduction properly. I just want to bring him straight in. None other than Mr. Emmanuel Waldron. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, thank you, Ossie, for that wonderful intro.
You're very, very welcome. Let me make you a little bit bigger on the screen here. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you spending your time. And you know, for me as well, I guess I can't really hide. I am a fan. I am a fan. So it's amazing to be able to talk to you tonight and talk a little bit about going from practice to pro. My viewers, my audience, we talk about different things regarding entrepreneurship, how to develop as an entrepreneur, how to monetize certain skills. And when it comes to the arts, I think this is where quite a number of people do tend to struggle in terms of finding their groove, having the correct pathway for monetization. So I'm really excited to talk to you about your journey tonight, and just all the different years. But tell me, how are you tonight? How have things been for you, like during the lockdown, etc.? How are you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm well.
Good.
For your listeners, those who may not know, I'm actually based in Norway currently. So I'm living here, working, teaching with my family here in Norway. Pretty much like the rest of the world, this pandemic has affected people here. Lots of people have been stressed regarding their jobs, actually being sick with the disease as well, although it's not hit people as much here as it has in other parts of Europe. But yeah, to be honest, is an opportunity to sort of get to know yourself more and see what other opportunities there are to actually help people. So for me, that's the way I'm looking at embracing this pandemic. I'm not embracing the pandemic per se, but I mean in terms of the opportunity. So
Yeah.
to better myself.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so funny because it's almost like everybody that I interview responds in a very, very similar way in terms of that kind of seeing it as not seeing it as an opportunity, but maybe the changes that have happened around them, adapting to it, like you said, learning about yourself, maybe pivoting, trying something new. So it's just very interesting. All the successful people I talk to, they have the same mindset when it comes to this time. So that's great. So Emmanuel, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? How did you become a pianist, etc.?
Sure. Well, for the benefit of your listeners, I was born in London, grew up in London, in an area called Hackney. And back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, it wasn't known for its tourist industry. It was a very rough place, and you just had to know how to survive, in that area. And to be honest, my dad started me off on piano lessons when I was 6. And to be honest, it wasn't something I enjoyed doing at all. I absolutely hated it. And he made me go. I didn't have any choice in stopping or in quitting. So I had to do this. And while my other school friends were out playing football or, meeting up with each other, going to the cinema, doing other stuff, I had to go to piano lessons every Saturday. Wasn't something, as I said, I enjoyed. But as time went on, I just accepted the fact that this was what I had to do. But I must admit, as I grew older, I actually grew to love and enjoy playing the piano to this present day.
You know what? I love the fact that you said Hackney was not known for its tourism.
Not at all. Not at all.
I love that.
It was a place you had to learn to survive, definitely.
I think that's like the biggest understatement of the year. Like, you know, yeah, there's yeah, I've heard stories. I didn't grow up in London, but I'm familiar with Hackney, and
Sure.
yes, I've heard stories of waking up in the morning to the sound of the birds and the fresh smell of gun smoke in the air. You know, it's definitely not not a tourist, not known for its tourism.
No, definitely not. But,
okay, so you see, you were forced to play piano. At what age did the transition take place where you thought, okay, do you know what, this is good? How old were you? So you started when you were 6.
Yeah, I started when I was 6, and just to give a little history before I come to the question, what used to happen actually, my dad couldn't drive, so we had to take the bus to my piano teacher's house. So once my dad dropped me and my sister, who used to do it as well, dropped us off, he used to go shopping. And by the time he had finished in the shopping, taken that home, and then come back for us, it was 3 to 4 hours later. And bearing in mind, actually, our lessons were only meant to be half an hour, and I hated even being there for 30 minutes, let alone being there for 3 to 4 hours for most Saturdays. And this went on for 8 years. So just to give people kind of like a perspective of what I had to endure. But when did I sort of get into liking it more? When I was in secondary school, maybe about 12, 13.
Right.
During music lessons in school, I already wasn't at an advantage of being able to play. So I would make up like tunes and stuff like that. And back in those times, Neighbours and Home and Away were like 2 of the big shows, the drama series going on. So I was able to play the theme tune for those series. So that kind of put me like, you know, in people's like, you know, good books in that sense of, wow, this guy can, you know, play Home and Away. Wow, he can play Meade. You know, so people kind of like saw the keyboard as like, wow, this is an instrument to kind of try out in that regard. So yeah,
that's interesting. Your teens, because I wasn't going to mention this because I have to kind of give the small print with this.
Okay.
I also had piano lessons when I was young.
Okay.
However, anybody who heard the clip at the start of you playing, I don't want anybody to get any ideas that I'm actually a good player, right? So I just want to get that out of the way. I did have piano lessons. I do play music. I produce. I kind of play little bits of a few things, but I too hated the lessons when I was young. But I was forced to do it. My mom made me go, and especially the practice as well. There's always like this reason for it, right? So for me, the practice was in the porch of the house. So the porch had no heating. It was freezing cold. There were 2 dead keys on the piano. I think it was the middle D, the D next to middle C, and one of the higher Gs, and they didn't work. And a lot of the music involved those notes. So it's just
Yeah, they are important keys. Yeah.
Definitely, but like you, I kind of had this just like a turning point. It kind of clicked into gear. I wasn't like, I didn't play in school and impress everyone with the Neighbours and Home and Away. By the way, it was real big in those days, you know. So if you play in that, that's you were the man. But I don't know. It's like I stopped lessons as soon as I could, and then my late teens, maybe 19, I thought, you know what? If I'd carried on playing all this time, I might be pretty good. So I had a hunger for it. That's when I started to get instruments myself. But it's interesting you have a similar story, but you had that discipline despite the 4-hour wait time to continue on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
That's amazing.
and to be honest, I mean, obviously, when from the age of 6 to when I eventually stopped, when I was around 14, nearly 15, um, you know, I couldn't really appreciate what my dad was doing. I couldn't appreciate the fact that he had a vision for me, really just to learn. And all those extra hours every Saturday really just helped me to get to, and to push on to help me to be at the level that I am now.
Mm,
So when I look back on those times, I can laugh, even though I hated it at that time. But I
mm,
understand that that was the foundation that was setting me up for where I'm at now.
right. Look at
So
that.
yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah,
It's kind of these opportunities that you can't really plan for. You can't
no,
plan for there to
no,
be like a hours delay in your picking up, but you
yeah,
utilize that time to get. I think that's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing. What I want to do is throughout tonight's interview, and those people who watch each week, you know that we usually just go straight through the questions, but Emmanuel is sat at the piano. So I want to take a few breaks here and there just so that we
sure.
can hear you play something. Are you all right to play a short piece for us at this time?
Yeah, yeah, I think you put me on the spot, which is always a good thing. I
Good,
think
good, good. Fantastic.
I kind of thrive on sort of being spontaneous. So, what can I play? Uh, I've just got to think a little bit, which doesn't happen so often
That's good.
normally.
That's right.
Um,
Just while you're
I don't know.
thinking, there's a friend of
I'm
mine
just
who's
gonna think.
lying. He's
Yeah.
telling me that I'm good on keys. Now that's how you know that's a good friend. This man, look, you are now a very good friend to me, Adrian. I know that's you telling me I'm very good on keys. That's a compliment, but it's also very, very untrue.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
yes,
I'm just gonna vibe a little bit.
you go ahead.
Yeah. Something.
Brilliant. You know, where's my applause? Give you some serious applause. In fact, yeah, yeah. Fantastic,
Okay.
fantastic. So here we have Ruth Waldron. Am I assuming correctly? This is your wife? Is this your wife?
This is my lady. Yep, indeed.
Fantastic. Now that must have been. I don't want to get personal, but that must have been quite easy to kind of lure in. You just find a piano, right? And you just kind of leave it. Is that how it happened? That's how I imagine it happened. Is it?
Well, not quite actually. I
Okay.
mean, she's a singer and a teacher as well, a singing teacher as well. And actually, it's interesting because we've got actually a very long history between our families. She had the
Okay.
same piano teacher as I did,
No
and
way.
our families knew each other from maybe the late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
And so I used to go to her church. My piano teacher went to her church. And
Right.
so he used to invite me at certain times. And I used to come down there and do recitals. Um, and yeah, so our families knew each other from way back in the day. Over time, we lost contact. And then a mutual friend, he was a singer, or is a singer, not was, is a singer.
Mm.
And Junior Robinson, maybe some of your your listeners know who he
Yes.
is. And
Yeah.
so Ruth was working with him, and I
Okay.
was working with Junior separately.
Right.
And one day he kind of got us all together as a trio, just doing some stuff in Italy, and it just kind of kicked on from there, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So she was singing, but you were still playing, right? So you still kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
That's
sometimes.
so my imagination wasn't far off. It wasn't too far off.
You know, sometimes, yeah, you know, it's nice to know how to serenade on the keys. So
Yes,
it
most
comes in,
definitely,
yeah,
most
it
definitely.
comes
I'm not really a love guru or anything like that,
in.
but I kind of figure that you know, if you can really play the piano,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and you are interested in someone, you know,
yeah,
and that piano happens to be there
yeah,
somehow, if you
yeah,
play it,
yeah,
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 things
yeah,
can happen. Same with the saxophone. Same with the saxophone.
yeah.
This is just my opinion. There's no research whatsoever involved in this, by the way. But yeah, got lots of appreciation from the audience. They have lovely playing. Even
Thank
got
you.
requested, can you come to our home and play at our dinner table, please? Can you imagine?
Well, we can maybe speak about that and see what each other.
Fantastic. All right. So
Okay.
you've at the beginning of the show, top of the show, I mentioned the fact that you played for so many people, including the royal family, etc. And you know, the list goes on with the people that you
Yeah.
mentioned, because I know that even from your albums, the people you've worked with that weren't even in that list. So
Sure.
out of everything that you've done so far, what do you feel is like your biggest or greatest or most important achievement?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've been privileged actually to do a lot. To travel to, to the States, other parts of America, the Middle East, across Europe. Um, and it's always been great meeting different people, and a lot of those people I'm still in contact with now online. Um, so I think some of the or one of the standout moments I think for me is I think meeting Prince Charles um, with my friend and very esteemed colleague in music, Karen Gibson, who's
Mm,
been recently recognised by the Queen for all her splendid efforts. And so we worked with a school. We actually did a lot of schools back sort of the early 2000s, going into the last decade or the beginning of last decade. And
mm,
one of the schools in particular in Camden, we worked with, and the girls in that school, it's a girls' school.
mm,
The girls that came to the choir were the naughty girls. Um, and Karen has a great gift. I am going to big her up actually. She has a great gift of pulling out gold from people. And she was able to turn the naughty girls into an award-winning choir who had the opportunity to perform at Buckingham Palace, had the opportunity to perform in front of the Queen. We won the Songs of Praise competition, schools competition. I think this
mm.
was in 2010, if my memory
Right.
serves me right. But I think just seeing the transformation in those girls' lives, I think, and just seeing that they believe that they could do anything, I think it
Mm,
kind of helps push you to say, well, actually, I'm seeing these girls, the naughty girls from the class being sent out, etc., coming together, learning discipline, and actually representing their school, and not even their school, but their community, the Camden Borough, and actually just excelling on a point to actually be able to perform in front of Prince Charles with royalty, the Queen, and other dignitaries, heads of states, um, the Pope when Pope Benedict came over, I think in 2010 as well, and that was, I think, the first state visit by a Pope in over 300 years, if my memory
mm,
serves me right from the info that they gave out. And to
mm,
be able to perform and be so dignified in what they do, and to, um, yeah, I think just to see the turnaround in these girls' lives, I think is a massive thing. And for me, it just shows what can happen when you have people who believe in you. I think, my dad believed in me, which is why, every Saturday I was at my piano teacher's house for 3 to 4 hours. My piano teacher believed in me. That's why he invested so
Right.
much time each Saturday.
Mm.
Um, he could see something in me that I couldn't have seen in myself at that point.
Mm.
And he did his utmost to help me be the best that I could be, even till now. So um, for me, it's kind of seeing how what you do and who you are impacts other people in a positive way.
Mm.
And from where I'm coming from, just this kid from Hackney, just like any other kid from Hackney back in those times, who went to piano lessons, absolutely hated it, to kind of, fast forwarding on to present day, where I've been fortunate and privileged enough to play for the Queen, for
Mm.
Prince Charles. I've actually played for the Queen of Jordan in Jordan at a wedding, which I was fortunate to get that opportunity, and other well-known names, etc. For me, I think it just says, if you can understand who you are and understand what you have, um, and just work, put the effort in, you can
Mm.
go places.
Mm.
For me, even now, people say, "Oh, well, you don't need to practice. You don't need to spend time on the instrument." For me, it's the same. I still try and spend as much time as I can learning, because for me, I think that's one of the most important lessons in life. How you can always be your best and continue to be better.
Mm. That is amazing. Sorry, you're getting a round of applause. You know, I might even give you a dragon punch. That's brilliant, and you appreciate. See,
Yeah.
the dragon, but yes,
Yeah.
see, I have
Absolutely.
some guests on. They don't realize the honor to receive a dragon punch. They don't always understand. I can see you get it when I
Yeah.
played.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the nod
Yeah.
was there. The nod
Well,
of
actually, I remember actually during school at lunchtimes, we all used to go to the arcades and play that game. So that brings back memories when I hear that sound.
it's always good. It's always
Yeah.
good. And people need to understand the honor of receiving a dragon punch. But yes, I digress. What you shared there, I think, is amazing. I think that it's one of the things that in my years in the classroom teaching,
Yeah.
I had 14 years in education. Just that
Sure.
when you have, especially, I love the way as well, because if people are listening to the podcast, they wouldn't have seen the quotes, the air quotes that you said when you said the naughty children.
Okay.
So I will just describe the fact that you did that, and I love the fact that you did that because, quite often we look at children, young people, as either naughty or
Yeah.
good, depending on their tendency towards academic excellence.
Yeah.
It's not measuring anything else. It's not measuring, their artistic skills. It's not measuring their kinesthetic skills. It's not measuring their linguistic skills per se. So people have lots of different areas of intellect and knowledge, and we kind of categorize people. And as you've seen, these same people
Mm.
who were kind of put in this club, right? So the teachers can have a peaceful classroom. They ended up, excelling in this area and having an opportunity to sing before the crowd. I think that's amazing, and those things really are rewarding more than just in the event. Like you said, it's kind of just what that actually means to see that happen, the process in which you've seen the development,
Yeah.
and they've achieved something. You think, yeah, this it can be replicated, right? It can be done again. If they can do it, someone else can.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think the thing is, I mean, for me, I look at every human as a result. And people might think, well, what do you mean by that? We're all a result. Okay. Being born is a result. Celebrating your first birthday is a result. Starting your first day at school, saying your first words, I've gone probably too far there, is a result. And as you live life, and every experience that you have is a result. Some might, look at it in a negative way. Of course, there are negative experiences, and there are always positive experiences. But I look at the negative experiences and I think, how can I learn from those things? Um, what's the lesson that I need to see and I need to understand? What's the lesson that I need to apply? to my life from this. You know, how can I become better? The positives show you kind of where you're at. You know, so if I played a nice concert or I've created a lovely CD, that shows me the level that I'm at. But the challenges, the issues kind of show me the growth that I need to take and need to, you know, go through the process to be better. Because I'm never satisfied with the level that I'm at. I always want to be better because I see a higher level always. So people might think, oh, well, you've reached a very high level, but for me, there's always somewhere higher to attain to. So until my final time or day on earth, that will always be what I'm about. You know, just always being my best and always attaining to be at a higher level than where I currently am.
Brilliant. I love the fact. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm just still like, that was deep. Your successes show you where you are at.
Yeah.
But your challenges show you where you need to grow.
Yeah.
That statement there, that's a mic drop statement. That is, you know, I love it. That's amazing. Sorry.
Tiger uppercut. Shoryuken.
Serious. Very, very, very serious. Even your wife, she's applauding you because that's deep right there. That's really deep. And it's very true. It's not just, I'm not hyping it up just because it sounds nice. You know, it's actually very, very true. And I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Like, your successes show you where you are.
Yeah.
They show you where, because you're able to do it. So you've done it. Even if it's difficult to do it, it shows you what you can do. But the challenges show you what you need to work on. Do you know what? That's me, people. I can leave. I've had mine for the week. I don't know if everybody else has. I'll tell you what, let me just chew on that for a minute. Can you play something else for us, please?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if you want to play. So, do you know, I don't, the thing is, the songs that I could request, but I know that you probably need the rest of the band there for it to be, you know, the full thing. So I'll let you choose whatever you want to play. But this is great so far. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Actually, maybe if I go to a song from my first album, Portrait of a Journey. There's a song on there called Greenfields. I'll just play that. If I can remember my own song at this minute.
Absolutely beautiful. Love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. Oh, goodness me. Okay, so let's get into kind of the theme of the topic today. So it's from practice to pro.
Yeah.
Now, there are many people out there who they have a skill, they have something that they're gifted in doing. And sometimes it's very difficult. You kind of go through the education system and you kind of land in a job. You come out and you're just there. And before you know it, you know, years have passed and people may be asking themselves, could I be able to kind of make something of this gift? Can I actually monetize this skill? Is this something I could maybe become semi-professional at or even professional at? So what I want to find out is, was from yourself, that kind of realization that, okay, this is more than just a hobby now. This is something that I do want to start pursuing seriously. I want to start, maybe, and even I'm going to add a little bit in here in terms of sometimes you can do something and you're doing it and you're performing in front of people, but you're not charging for it. You're not making any money. When does that realization hit you to say, no, I'm going to actually start making money off this?
I think, to be honest, it's understanding that this is not just a job. First of all, it's a gifting. And to be honest, the way I think about what I do isn't firstly primarily just to make money. Of course, money comes into it. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't. But for me, I kind of think of it as my gift to the world, and I earn from that. So, for example, I also teach, and I have my own company set up, and I give people lessons. But the thing for me is not necessarily, oh, I'm just going to give lessons so I can earn money. For me, it's actually helping people through processes that I've been through. And that's what I understand people will pay for. If people pay for a variety of things. So you go to a cinema, for example, to see a film, you're paying for the experience and a night out, just, the experience of enjoying yourself with the company that you are with. You pay to go for a football match. It's the same thing, and in the same way for me, when I think about what I do, people are paying for the experience of having me, the experience of everything that I bring through, from when I started as a child to present day, all my life experiences that have formed the way I perceive the piano and the way that I approach what I do, the way that I am as a musician, as a person. People are paying for that. So it's not necessarily just, oh, I'm just, because I've learned a skill, I'm now just going to monetize from it. It's actually looking at the deeper aspect of who I am and why I would charge a certain amount for my services and for what I bring. I've had people turn around and say to me, oh, I think your rates are a little bit high. And I'll be like, okay, that's fair enough. You can find someone else, but they won't give you what I give you. And that's it. When you pay for what I give you, you're paying for my time and you're paying for my expertise and you're paying for my experience. And, I don't let people down. It's not in it's not written anywhere or anything like that. My thing is about doing and being in excellence. So anything that I put out, anything that I put my name to isn't rubbish. It's always going to be on a very high level because that's what I subscribe to. So if people buy into what I do, then they're buying into excellence. They're subscribing to what I do and what I'm about.
Love that. I don't want to exhaust this dragon punch, but everything you're saying, there we go. I've done it. Okay. But, there are so many things that you, so first of all, you thought about, you explained your thought process in it being a gift.
Yeah.
And actually, you're not looking at it as what can I get from this?
Yeah.
But actually, what can I give from this? And I think there are so many successful people out there that have that mentality. And in fact, conversely, I find those with the opposite mentality don't tend to last. When they may get to their goal, but they don't tend to last in that goal. And it's very, very interesting to me that people that are successful in what they do, they tend to have this giving mentality. They want to give back. They want to help others. And I think that's such a powerful base point to go from.
Yeah. Because the thing that I would say is understanding that if you're a solution for a problem, and there are many problems, there are many challenges, issues, and if you understand that you are a solution for that, and you're genuine about helping people, people get to a point where they trust you. So an interaction just doesn't have to be one time only. An interaction could be continuous. And obviously word of mouth helps, where people can turn around and say they recommend, you for a job or for, I remember, I'll share this actually. When my wife and I were expecting our first child 12 years ago, we were struggling a little bit at that point financially. And I remember praying and saying to God, oh, please, we just need a breakthrough financially. And I remember specifically one day, a short time after that, this guy called up, very posh, hi, is this Emmanuel? And he called from the Shakespeare's Globe. And he turned around and he said, oh, I came highly recommended. So I was like, okay. And so he said, well, they've actually got a production that they need a pianist for. Would I be willing to come in for an audition and an interview? And I said, yeah, sure, arranged the date, time, etc. Met with the music director for the show, sat down, talked with them like we're talking now. They said, okay, can you play a little bit, something a bit bluesy, whatever. Did that. They said, okay, great, nice to meet you. We'll get in touch with you within 2 weeks. They got in touch in 2 days. Okay. And they turned around and they said, we want you on the show.
Wow.
I was like, great, fantastic. But I was always curious to how they found out who I was and how they got my number. So I thought, don't push it. There will be an opportunity where I will find out. So anyway, long story short, I've met with the cast and the other band members in the production, and just talk with different people. And I met the guy who originally called me as well. And then he turned around and gave me the story of what happened. He turned around and he said, actually, the music director for the show was really stumped for who they can find as a piano player. And so he went to lunch with a guy, a friend of his, and they had a conversation about this. And the friend that he went to lunch with turned around and said, wait 1 minute, went through his phone, picked my number out and said, call this guy. And that's how I got that bit of work. Now, the interesting thing was, the guy that recommended me was someone that I did a gig for 5 years previously. Hadn't had any contact in that time, 5 years previously.
Wow.
But the thing is, when I got in touch with him to say thank you so much, he said, listen, I always remember the way you were on the gig. Stuff was going on, stuff was going wrong and all of that, but he just remembered the way I was.
Wow.
That for me was always a big lesson. People always will see and watch, and they will see who is who. They will see who's genuine from who's fake. They will see the people who have real hearts about what they do, rather than someone who's trying to scam. And people can read between the lines of who's who. And so for me, it's about, if you can be a solution for someone and be genuine about who you are, you will find that favor comes your way. Not everyone's going to like you. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. That's just life. That's how it is. But the people who you're meant to be a solution for, you will find them.
That's excellent. That's brilliant. And, we've got comments here, people talking about spirit of excellence. Someone is saying that prayer works, and yes, it does. They're saying powerful testimony. It really is, because I think that, there's the fact that there was a 5-year gap.
Yeah. And
also that after the 5-year gap, you still had to audition. They still had to meet you.
Yeah.
So what that there is saying, actually, this recommendation that you've left an impression from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the voice that was carried for these people in the present. And now they're looking to see if that validation is there 5 years later. So it's not just about being excellent, but it's being consistent with that.
Consistency, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a character trait, to be honest. And I think it says a lot about who someone is. I mean, to be honest, like anyone, I have my up and down days. There's days I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like, I just want to stay in bed, just stick my head in the sand, not do anything. And that's normal. We're all human. you know. So we all have those moments. But I think if you can find it in yourself to say, actually, I feel like this, but I don't have to go by how I feel.
Right.
I understand that there are things that I need to do. I understand that I am a solution for people. I need to put stuff out there, you know, to help others. There are people out there that I am a solution for, that I am their help. So rather than me sort of getting into my feelings with whatever's currently going on, let me acknowledge what I feel, but not be restricted by what I feel. And even when I feel on a high and everything's great and everything's wonderful, I don't sort of still get caught up with that, because it can all come crashing down. For me, I understand that, yeah, it's great to feel great, of course, but to know who you are more is more important than relying on your feelings, or let your feelings say to you or dictate to you what you do or what your course of action is. So I've had to continuously learn this, still learning it now. You know, it's not something that I say, oh yeah, I've learned that, you know, I don't need to think about that or do that anymore. I still have to apply that now. I still have to take action every single day. And I have to decide that I'm going to take action every single day, despite how I feel.
No, that's brilliant. It's very true. It's just that, you know, sometimes we face things where the emotion wants to kind of override our general point of gravity, right? Our consistency. The emotion wants to override it and push us into this realm. And I guess it really is a choice. It's a real choice to make, to say that I am going to stick to how I am. I'm not going to change who I am just for the sake of this temporary situation. It's so true. Oh goodness me! So much value that is being poured out here, man. I really appreciate it. And your wife's appreciating it too. Say true words. Love it. Do you know what? I want you to play another piece for us, please.
Cool,
let's play another piece. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I'm doing it every 15 minutes.
You got a strategy in place.
Yeah, that's how my brain works. I have to put everything into boxes.
That's cool. Let me play something. Just gonna vibe. Okay.
Absolutely beautiful. Love it. I was holding back from singing over here. I didn't want to ruin the recording. But yeah, oh my goodness me, beautiful. And you wife hit the nail straight on that. I worship you, Almighty God. Anybody who knows. I worship you, Almighty God. There is none like you. A beautiful rendition of that song there. Yeah, we're having church here today. That's lovely. They're throwing up praise hands and all sorts. This is amazing.
Yeah.
No, but do you know what? I think it is in terms of the gift, in terms of being able to play music. I know that even for myself, it's kind of it is a gift. Like for me, like there's times where I just need to play so that I can hear it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like there's the days where I just need to play so that I can hear it. And then my wife says to me, "Oh, do you know that's so nice?" You know, it just changes the atmosphere. But it really, really is. And I think that you know what you mentioned earlier. You know, it literally is every entrepreneur that's come on here. They talk about solving problems, and it's so interesting that even though we're talking about artistry, we're talking about music. It's exactly the same thing. You're thinking about solving problems, helping other people, because where there's a need, there's a solution that you can provide, and people will pay for it. And one thing that you kind of touched on, I want to come back to, is I guess this concept of knowing what you're worth. Because it's very clear that you know this is what I charge, and that you make no apology about that. And I think that even that grace to say, do you know what, if you don't want to pay that, that's fine. You can find someone else, but you're very secure in knowing what you bring. And like you said, it's not just playing that piece; it's actually all the years behind it. How do you advise people who haven't got that mindset that need to get there? So like you're the place that they need to get to in terms of thinking like that. But people tend to be very apologetic when it comes to the price that they charge. How did you get to that place?
I think it's just years of undercharging, for one, not seeing or appreciating my value, and I think it's also kind of maybe not seeing myself or having an understanding of how God sees me. Actually, um, for me, I think it's understanding that first of all, before even money comes into it. You know, who you are, you know, for me, I think of myself, I am an individual, I am unique. I know my gift to the world is unique. There's millions of other piano players, musicians around the world, but I know for me, what I do is so unique. Um, and I treasure that. For me, it's you know, that's gold. Um, and it's not necessarily just about what I do, it's also who I am, because what I do is an extension of who I am. So I think in terms of knowing what I do and who I am enables me to charge what I charge. Again, from the earlier point of the person, you know, whatever the interaction will be, they will get my best from that. I think for people who struggle with that, I think it is getting to a point where if you need to take some time out and actually understand and learn about who you are, whether it's writing down things that you're great at doing and just need to continue doing, things that you're good at doing but could be better, and things that you're not so good at doing, and saying, right, I need to sort of find a way of improving that to become better. I think it's also getting to a place where you see who you are and you see what your worth is about. That's an internal thing, and of course that's, you know, different from person to person in terms of the work that they might have to do, whether it's seeing a counselor, whether it's getting personal development. You know, shout out to my coach. I believe he's also watching. Andrew, if you're watching, shout out to you. You know, but I think it's also it's getting to a point where you are at peace with yourself, and that is a process of time. That's not an overnight thing. I know your listeners listening to me must think, well, you know, you've done well, you've got to this place, etc. But it's been a process. It's been a process of years, actually. And for me, when I look back on my own experiences, putting music aside, I think the experiences I've had that have helped me grow and become the person I am is the reason why I do what I do. So I think it's also kind of seeing what your gifts are, what you're passionate about, the things that you've always dreamt about doing, and actually confronting the fears of, running away from that. Something actually, I'll share this words with everyone. Something that God actually spoke to me about some time ago, about the story of Jonah. And if there are people who don't know the story of Jonah, Jonah was told by God to go to a city called Nineveh and tell the people to turn away from the way they were behaving, or else, they would be destroyed. And Jonah didn't think that the people deserved God's forgiveness or God's love or his grace. So he went the opposite way to Tarshish. And long story short, he almost caused a lot of he did cause a lot of problems for the people on the boats that he was on. They threw him overboard. He got eaten or swallowed by a fish, a giant fish, thrown up onto land 3 days later, and decided, okay, I am going to tell the people of Nineveh that they need to turn around. Now, the thing that God spoke to me about was, I was like a typology of Jonah, and Nineveh was my life. And instead of confronting my life, I was running away from it. So instead of turning around and saying, actually, these are things in my life that need to be confronted. These are things in my life that I need to pay attention to and do something and take action about. Instead of doing that, I was running away and trying to escape. And to be honest, I really would, say to every listener, and every viewer, that, when you run away from things, you actually prevent blessings from coming. God's not trying to, do anything bad to you in throwing things your way for you to deal with. It's actually to make you better. It's actually to grow you. It's actually, to help you be your best. And actually, even though I've been sharing a lot about my story tonight, my story is not even actually about me. It's actually to help someone else. All the biblical stories and stories we read about other people in other books, etc., it's never about them. They had the experiences, whatever those things were, but their story is always to help someone else. Someone else is always to benefit from your experience, from your story, the things that you've gone through, the process that you've endured. It's always for the betterment for other people.
Do you know what? It's summed up in this word. Someone's typed it in the comments. Deep. I think that and also there's just so much wisdom you've shared today, and I'm not often taken aback by things that are shared, but you've really caused me to think. Like, you've really caused me to think, because and before I forget, you said your coach is watching here, so you have to give him a dragon punch. Coach Emmanuel Waldron, yes, most definitely. Fair, he can get a tiger uppercut.
Tiger uppercut.
But my goodness, and also while we're at this kind of pause juncture, I would say to the people watching, you have 2 minutes. If you have a question you are desperate to ask Emmanuel, drop them in the comments while you have a chance. I will take the first one that comes, maybe two, the first two that comes, and then that'll be it. Because I want to hear Emmanuel play some more music, and I want to just talk about one more thing as well myself. I've got another question for you. I think that you've shared so much value in terms of what you've learned as a professional, and just kind of your raison d'etre and the types of things that you're aiming to do as you do what you do. I think the most important thing that I want to know now is, how do I say the name of the album? Is it called K-O?
It's chaoticism.
Chaoticism. Okay.
Yeah. So
chaotic.
it is a tongue twister. And to be honest, the title came. I was reading up on it because I heard this name and I thought, well, is there such a word? And there is actually a word called chaotic.
Right.
which was coined by a US congressman, I think somewhere like in 1983, something like that. And basically, what its meaning is the blend or the mix of chaos and order together, and the ism being the system of that. So the system of chaos and order, which when we look around, we can see that going on around the world. And that's basically the title of the album.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's brilliant. I think that yeah, just in it being a word, in it being the fact that I can't say it. There's a few different levels of deepness here, but yeah, I'm gonna have to learn and practice how to say that word, and I will
Sure.
also put it into Google as well. But yeah, I think there's a level of the I think we kind of need to chat personally because I don't want to bore the listeners here because the reality is that there are layers to your music. I like music. I listen to a lot of music, and anybody who knows me knows that is a fact. I will kind of. I mean, you can see some bits around me.
Sure.
I don't know if it, yeah, you can see there's instruments and stuff around me. Basically, the reality is, when I listen to your music, I can hear, like, I kind of am of the understanding that every instrument speaks. Every single instrument speaks. So you can say sentences, you can say paragraphs, you can say all kinds of things. And I kind of hear like different levels of talk and just that title in itself, it shows that kind of is an example of that in the fact that you're not just choosing a title for an album. Actually, you're explaining various things, and for anybody who's new to you, they do need to understand. A lot of your albums, the majority of the music is instrumental, so it's not. You do have some vocalists on there. I think your wife is on one of them, right? So "Ribbon in the Sky," is that right?
That's right. Yeah,
and she's got a beautiful
version of that as well. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, but the majority of it is instrumental, and I love hearing about the stories behind the actual song itself. So I'm only going to ask you about one. What was the concept behind Cruise Control?
The concept behind it, thinking about the song, I think it's just being on a journey. I think there are moments in life that you're literally in cruise, and you're having a good moment, things are going well, and you're literally just riding on that wave. I think that's just an element, I guess, with the concept of that song.
Nice. Because I feel that that was one of my drive to work songs. That was one of my drive to work songs. Yeah. It's very nice. Anybody out there who hasn't heard it, you need to go out there and buy it. Cruise Control, beautiful song.
Yeah. A few people have actually said to me that they actually put that album on when they're driving.
Yeah.
And they normally tend to have that song on repeat at least. So just that. But yeah, it's got a long drive kind of vibe about it.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to take a couple from the audience, and then we'll hear from you. Hear you play one more time. Okay, so if you have a think about that, I did say there's a few questions here. Okay, so I'll choose this one from Wayne Brown. He's asking, what maintains your inspiration? You have such strong belief in yourself.
What maintains my inspiration? I think that's not so easy to answer. I think it's just seeing my life at this point. I think, to be honest, what I'm going to say sounds a little bit morbid, but obviously during this pandemic, we've heard of how many people have died, how many people have become sick, etc. And I think every time I hear about someone who's died, it's just always another reminder to me, you know what, you're blessed to have health, you're blessed to have strength, you're blessed to be able to use your hands, your feet, to see, to use your mouth, to be able to taste, to touch, to feel, to smell, to hear. You know, the things that we take for granted every single day. You know, it's just another reminder. Okay, I'm going to keep putting down, you know, my best effort, um, and keep pushing. Um, and sometimes I have to be patient with myself because I sometimes feel that, you know, I try and get everything done at once and I get a bit frustrated and like, ah. But for me, I think it's understanding that, you know, um, I'm fortunate, I'm privileged, I'm blessed, to do what I do. I'm blessed to have what I have, the people that I have in my life. And so for me, it's just a case of I've just got to live my best and try and be my best every single day. I have 3 sons, and you know, I'm their blueprint. So, you know, they will watch what I do more than listen to what I say, because they will, especially when they get older and they're able to think for themselves, they will be able to tally up what I say and think, well, Dad, you said this here, but does that match your actions here? Yeah, Dad, you know, do you really believe I can do this? Do you really believe that I can be this, I can be that? Yes, son, I think so. Well, Dad, did you do that? Did you believe in yourself? Did you take the action to be your best? So for me, I'm always challenged by that. My son has challenged me. People that I teach challenge me. People that I come into contact with, you know, just having conversations about life and different subjects, I'm always challenged. I'm always challenged to be my best. So not just even as a musician, just as a person. Because, you know, I know I'm sat here with a keyboard in front of me, but a lot of the time, if I haven't got a keyboard in front of me, if I've gone shopping or I've gone to visit someone or, you know, just something else other than music at that point, who am I? You know, what am I about? You know, do I still have the same principles as, you know, the same way I've applied myself musically? Do I still have that principle as a person in just going around and doing my everyday stuff? So,
Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant, 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 brilliant. And I believe you answered Wayne. He said, honest answer, thank you. Okay, I'm going to take one more, and that is from Ailey. And then this is Adrian. He said, any tips on time management?
Any tips on time management? I'm always learning that for myself, to be completely honest with you. Um, I think one thing I've learned and continue to learn on time management is to not do everything at once, um, and to overestimate time, not underestimate time. I've had to learn to do that. I will be completely honest. Um, Years ago, I wasn't great with time. I used to turn up places, you know, late. And actually, I've learned as time goes on that actually that's a disrespect. Not necessarily only to the people who I was late for, but actually it said a lot about me. Um, if I don't respect my own time, I don't respect myself, I can't then give my best to other people. Of course, stuff happens that could be out of your control, you know, an accident on the road, and that can make you late, something like that. But in terms of managing your time, it's about having self-respect, I think, first, and understanding that your time is important. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but we will see, you know, who utilizes their time the best. Some people spend their time chatting about what's on Netflix. Nothing wrong with Netflix, but is it worth all your time? You know, some people will spend their time trying to be, you know, a solution. And that's what I've gone more into. You know, my wife will tell you sometimes I'm up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone else is sleeping. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about different stuff. I'm thinking, how can I do this? How can I do that? I'm trying to put ideas together. I'm trying to get inspiration, not only necessarily just for music, but just to help people. You know, I'm just thinking about different things. How can I do this? How can I do that? So for me, you know, I can always utilize my time better. Um, I always find there's always things that I can do to improve my time. But I think first of all is to have self-respect and understand that actually, if you're someone who doesn't utilize time very much, or in a poor way, look within yourself and say, why do I do this? What's the reason that I put this off, or try to squeeze in 10,000,001 things in 10 minutes before I'm supposed to do this or that, which is the priority. Why do I leave things to the very last minute? And it's kind of like looking at all of those things, and just being honest with yourself. um, there's clues about the way we are and the way we do things, which actually are the answers to our questions.
Definitely.
So
That's a
yeah.
brilliant answer. And your wife is here. She's saying true.
She's
Now,
been on the journey with me, so she knows.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that. I love that because
yeah,
there's sometimes there's not always that agreement with the husband and wife.
yeah,
So you're saying it, she's agreeing. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So yeah, do you know what? I'd love for you if you could please,
Yeah.
play one more song for us, and
Sure.
then we'll have one last final bit from me, and then we'll close out the show.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Hmm, what song should I play? Um, got a few I'm thinking of. Um, yeah, I'm going to play a song called "Hear Me When I Say I Love You." It's taken from my third album called "Everything You Are." This song features a friend of mine called Nathan Prime, who's a vocalist. Obviously, I'm not singing, so I'm just going to play the melody for that. So.
Fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Oh, thank
Really,
you.
really appreciate having you on today. I just want to ask, what is next for yourself? What's on the horizon for you? I know that last year you released the live album. Oh,
That's
by
right.
the way, when
Yeah.
when can we get access to? Because I had to play it at the start. Spain. How do we
Okay.
get access to that?
To be honest, it's on the YouTube, my YouTube channel.
Yeah, this is where I've seen it, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it anywhere else. So
No, but actually, to be very honest with you, that was taken from the same night that I recorded the album, the live album. Um, and the truth about that was I wasn't actually planning an album from that. We didn't set up, like with separation with all the instruments to record. It was just literally just the stage. We're just going to do the concert. Everyone was just going to have a good night, and that was just going to be a great moment for that time. But when I heard the recording, they recorded it from the sound desk. The recording was pretty good, actually. So I said, yeah, well, let's take some of these tracks at least and create, the live album.
But where's Spain? Because I was looking.
If I be completely honest, I think listening back to the audio, there wasn't much I could do with it because,
right,
there was a lot of lag between the instrumentation.
Right.
So even though you have the YouTube vids, and obviously the vibe there was great, but the actual audio itself, it wasn't in the best condition to be released.
And I understand that. Yeah. I understand that. I'm because I deal with recordings and trying to clean them up. If it doesn't go in right, there's really not much you can do thereafter. So that is like that is a shame, because I looked at the live album, I'm like, where's Spain?
Okay. Okay.
But I'm very happy to have it on YouTube anyway. But maybe one day it could be recorded solid in the studio. But listen, sir, Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you being on, all the wisdom that you shared. You've seen all the appreciation from none other than your wife, of course, and she's throwing up hearts, etc. Wayne's saying lovely. So regarding your music, people have said it's powerful information, true. This has been great. And I want to thank the audience for your participation. I hope you've all enjoyed the show tonight. But Emmanuel, we're going to say goodbye to you. You hang on. I'm going to talk to you after I close out the show. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Emmanuel Waldron, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, good people. Today's show has been all about turning your skill that you have, your artistry, into a potential profession. Hopefully you've learned from Emmanuel. I know that I have. He shared some really deep insight into how you should be as a person, how it's best to conduct yourself, and also thinking about your values, how you're actually using the skills that you have to help others, and being yourself consistently, and being patient as well. And naturally, he prayed. I would pray. Maybe you don't pray, but maybe you need to think about that consistency. Maybe you need to think about the fact that if you are away today and it's good, are you going to continue to be like that in time to come? So many wise words there tonight from Emmanuel. I hope that you have all enjoyed the show. And if you have, share with your friends, tell others about it. Next week, of course, we are back with another live show, and I have none other than Mr. Daryl Harper, who's a senior vice president. He's a mentor. He's a speaker, public speaker. He's also a finance educator. We're going to be talking about Mind Your Money, how to develop the right mindset towards your financial goals. Sometimes it's a taboo when people talk about money. They don't really want to talk about it, and they don't know how to set themselves the right types of targets. So we're going to be getting into that next week. So have yourselves a great rest of the week and weekend to come. And I'll see you again here in the Holding Block for another Tuesday Night Live. Take care. God bless.